What's up, boo? Welcome back to another video. Today we're just gonna kick it. We're gonna hang out, we're gonna chit chat while I get ready for the day. I just got out of the shower. I got clothes laid out on my bed because I'm not exactly sure what I want to wear. Like today the weather has been weird. It's supposed to rain all day and then it didn't rain and it's supposed to rain again, and now the sun is out. Like I don't know what's happening, so we're just gonna see where the mood takes me in regards to makeup looks today. I also want to give you your daily reminder to fill up on your water because I have not been doing well. The last few days, I have not been making wise decisions with my beverage intake. My allergies have been kicking in, and well, I have two types of allergies. I have spring allergies, I have fall allergies. I was good. Spring allergies were done. I was like, cool, I don't have to worry about fall allergies until end of August, beginning of September. Nope, just kidding. It's like the weather was like, you know what? Hold my beer, let me show you something. Because now my fall allergies have kicked in and it's been absolutely horrible. Like, I'm not a fan. I didn't even have allergies until I got in my 20s and early 20s. And then all of a sudden, yep, it was done. It was over with. Not sure exactly how or why. I read somewhere that you always have allergies. You're always allergic to whatever it is that you're allergic to. Your body, your body just gets tired of fighting it off. And that's when you get the symptoms. And I was like, that is an interesting fact. If it's true, that is very interesting. It's amazing what our bodies can and will do. And I'm learning to get in that place where I'm slowly but surely understanding that, compared to, being so focused on health and more so focused on wellness. It's a very slow journey. Very, very slow journey. Not always fun. I've taken some time off of that concept, but it's okay. We're back. Juvia's Place eyeshadow primer. I'm going to use this, what is this? Oh, got stuff all over it. This is the Anastasia Rose Metal Palettes. I'm still testing this out, so make sure that you're subscribed because you don't want to miss when I do finally give my thoughts on this. Anyways, so yeah, just learning to respect and love myself and where I'm at in life. I decided to get back into therapy because that was definitely something I felt was needed. I've had a really hard time. This is going to get real vulnerable real quick, so if you're not for it, maybe this is not the right get ready with me for you, but we're just gonna go. Got back into therapy. I'm 38. And honestly, I'm struggling a little bit with where I'm at in life because I feel like at 38, I should be further. And I think this is something that, if we're all honest, everyone struggles with. And that's the downside of social media. Everyone posts highlight reels. No one's really posting struggles. You know what I mean? No one is saying, hey, this is what I struggle with. This is where my weak spots are. No one's saying this is what I had to go through to get where I'm at. It's after and not necessarily during. And I think sometimes that can create a little bit of misguidance, if that makes sense. Because people don't see the timeline or the fullness of the timeline that it takes. I don't know what I'm doing here. We're just kind of going with whatever. I forgot all train of thought there. See, this is why I can't multitask. I'm not a good... I convinced myself that I'm a good multitasker. I am not a good multitasker. It just gives a false timeline and time frame of expectation, I feel. I don't know that that's necessarily fair. And then on that backside of it, as I was saying, it can make people feel like they're behind, and they're not necessarily behind. I've personally felt like that being 38, never been married, no kids, still living in an apartment. I really, I'm interested in getting a house. I am interested in, moving forward with things in my life. And at one point, I generally thought that I would be married. There was a guy that I had met in college. So I went to two colleges. I went to a music college for a while and studied music, little known fact. Wanted to do something with that. I wasn't exactly sure. For many years, I had tossed around the idea of being a music teacher because I had a wonderful high school teacher. And really, he just helped me to kind of see myself in a little bit of a different light in a positive way. I have the most disrespectful thing happening here on my face. And then a few years later, also had tossed around the idea of music therapy. And if you're not familiar with music therapy, it's essentially using music for people with learning disabilities, autism, those kind of things, in a therapy type of form, calming, growth wise, those kind of things. And I thought about doing that for a while. And I have ended up doing essentially nothing. I didn't graduate from that college. I got really bad depression to the point where suicide was one of the things I strongly considered. And made some really bad decisions. I got into some trouble with my friends and, all of the things. And ended up leaving that. I think I was 19 through like 22, like just barely 22. And then a few years later, after I moved back home to my hometown, not necessarily with my mom, I decided to go to a community college here and take liberal arts, which is where I ended up getting a liberal arts degree. And I met a young man there who I very quickly fell head over heels. And honestly, the way it started, it should have been a red flag. Like, it should have been like, Kurt, no, you, mm-mm. But we ended up being together, and like I said, I was head over heels. Absolutely love this man's dirty draws. And that's a gross saying, but that's what we say here in Iowa. Don't know what you say, would love to hear what you say. Leave it below when you are like head over heels for somebody. And I honestly thought we were on that same page. Like, we spent a massive amount of time together. We were dating. So, like, he'd borrow my car, just like all of the things that like we tend to do as women when we're in a relationship. Cook, let them stay over, like all of those things. And before you get all judgmental, you're a Christian, you're not supposed to be letting a man stay over, blah, 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 blah. Look, there's Jesus and the rest of us. I was 25. I didn't have a relationship with the Lord then. Like, and even now I do. I haven't been with anybody, but it's not like it never crosses my mind. Like, let's cast no stones, okay? So anyways, we were together. We were together. And at that point, we were so together that it was very clear that we loved each other. And I thought we were like, going to move forward and like eventually have a family. And then he got a job offer to transfer out of state. I was like, okay, cool. Like, because in my mind, we're good. School at this point, I think school was over. We maybe had graduated by then. I don't remember exactly. I think we had graduated by then. And I was interested in taking like some other like classes, but I wasn't quite sure yet. And he got that job offer and he went out to said state. and visited. We were like still in contact. Everything was good. Came back, and he was like ready to go. And in my heart, I was also ready to go. But reality kicked in and quickly made me realize, so I can't find the brush that I'm looking for. Here it is. Quickly realized we were not on the same page. As much as I thought as much as conversations made me feel as though we were not. He didn't ask me to go. He just like up and left. I mean, we said like goodbye, and like that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, it was cordial, but I was absolutely heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken. There was no other way to say it. And the best way that I knew how to deal with heartbreak at 27, 25, I think I was 25, was to find someone else who would fill that void because I didn't want to feel any of those feelings. And that's exactly what I did. I ended up messing around with a guy at my job at that time. Still looking for the brush that I'm looking for. Oh, I use this one. And he typically was not my type, like whatsoever, but he was available, and he was a bit of a geek. Like, no, there's no other way to put it. He was a bit of a geek. But like I said, he was available because there weren't very many people interested in him, and I needed not to feel the way that I felt. Plainly put. So I essentially like talked to him. We started dating, hanging out, whatever, whatnot. The original guy ends up like texting and calling, and ends up moving back a few months like later after this job. I don't remember exactly what had happened, but something had happened. And so he ended up like moving back, whatever, whatnot. And then here I was in a situation where I wanted to get back what I wanted to get back. And that was, I want to see what's going to happen with this guy who I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Long story short, I was kind of between two guys there for a second. And I chose, after we had tried to figure it out, me and guy A, and it really wasn't going anywhere. Like, he ended up moving to a few other states. And so I decided to continue a relationship with guy B. I need to set underneath my eyes. What am I doing with my life right now? So I decided to continue with guy B. And we dated for quite some time. I don't want to say quite some time. We dated for maybe a year. And I liked him, but I wasn't like in love with him. Like, he wasn't someone I could see myself being with. He was definitely there to keep me from feeling the pain that I had felt. Again, if you're gonna judge, please keep it moving, because I'm just being real. We ended up breaking up. It was messy. There's not another way to say it. It was super messy, but it was what it was. And so then I had to like deal with that. So it wasn't just dealing with the fact that I had gotten my heart broken from a guy that I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. It was also then compounded with a guy that I really wasn't even interested in, who I did end up like liking, but it wasn't to the point where I, again, could see myself being with him forever. Him then like rejecting me. So it was compounded rejections, and I took that really hard. And that, dealing with depression through the years, was just like not a good place to be in, right? So I went to therapy throughout the years, not just for that, but just, for other things as well, and kind of moved on with my life from both of those situations. Dated a few, like I healed, dated, officially became in a relationship with the Lord, and just like, like moved on. So 20, I don't know, 2020 ish, maybe, I don't know. Guy A sends my sister a Snapchat message or something. Maybe it's Instagram. I don't even know. One of those social media platforms. And it's like, asks for something along the lines, or like makes a comment about, oh, your sister married yet? Like whatever, whatnot. Like, this is a guy that I was head over heels, loved his dirty draws, could do no wrong, like, whatsoever. Loved him to death. And he taxed, and it was almost like all of those feelings, like, came back. Like, it's been 10 years. You're still thinking about me. Maybe we can make this work. So we ended up talking. We ended up getting together a couple of times. And at this point, I am in a relationship with God. But I also found myself falling back into some old habits. Because, like, this was the man that I was going to spend my life with. Like, in my mind. And this is one thing about women. We do this all the time. We'll imagine our whole life with a guy. And some of it's like our makeup. Like, we're made to be helpers. We have a womb because it's meant to birth things. You know what I mean? So we will do this with things, if we're not careful, that don't deserve to be birthed by us. And that's exactly what I did. I began seeing myself with this person again, and loving that person again, and enjoying that person again, and actually like settling down and having a family. And this person already has a couple of kids. I don't have any kids. And so I was like, we could be together, and like we would be a mixed family, or a blended family. And went through all of the emotions all over again. And this time, the thing that made it different was that I had a relationship with God. So I was praying, and I didn't hear one way or another about what to do. I didn't hear go for it. I also didn't hear pump the brakes. I generally just remember just praying, not even for him to love me, but just for clarity and trying to understand what this situation was about, what it was for. Like, I don't regret anything that happened, but I learned quickly that he had not changed. And then his health took a dive. And he didn't actually tell me until like days later. We had plans like on a Thursday or on a Friday, and he told me like Sunday. And this was I don't know, maybe a couple months max in regards to like our whole conversation. And he sends me like a message and is like, "Oh, sorry I couldn't make it. I've been in the hospital. I had a heart attack." And I'm like, "What? What the heck?" So I'm texting like my really good friends, like Christian friends. What do I do? Do I go up there? He didn't ask me to come up here. Like, I don't know what to do. But they knew how much I genuinely cared for this man, and were like, "Go up there." Even my gut was like, "Go up there." So I ended up going up there and was in the hospital with him. He had a heart attack, and they had to put a stent in, and it was just like a whole thing. And so I'm up there for, I don't know, 20 minutes. He didn't want me to come up there, like whatsoever. Did not want me to come up there. And 20 minutes, here comes another girl. Walks in the room. Okay. All right, cool. We were cool. There was like no beef. Um, I stayed maybe like another 5, 10 minutes, said a prayer with homie, and like walked out. And the girl walked out with me. And we are in the elevator, and she kind of tells me her backstory, how she ended up getting back in contact with him because they hadn't been in contact for some years, all the things. And I'm like, okay, like that's cool, whatever. He hadn't defined the relationship. I hadn't defined the relationship, even though I did have hopes to at some point define a relationship. Because again, 10 years previously, I thought we were moving in the marriage direction. And we had had conversations since him coming back about that's where he was hoping to go in the past. Probably not the truth, but that's what he said, whatever. And so I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Me and said girl end up becoming cool. And the next, I don't know, week, we're kind of like helping him get his life back together. Like making him meals, taking him to the store. Like we partnered together to get these things done so that he could, be okay. And then all hell breaks loose. She sends me a message. I'm literally at work one day and it's like, yo, I just want to know, what what what's going on with y'all? And I'm like, well, he reached out to me because that's what had happened. He reached out to me. We ended up talking. Actually, he reached out to my sister. My sister let me know. I told her, if he wants to come, I think it was Easter, if he wants to come to church with me on Sunday, that's cool. This is where I go, whatever, whatnot. He, of course, didn't show up. We've just been, like, cool since. We've hung out a couple times. We've had some dinner, like, whatever. And she was like, okay, cool, because I'm really hoping, like, to be with him and, like, whatever, whatnot. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's cool. I'm really hoping that he chooses one of us. I said, boo, I'm already chosen. Like, the Lord chose me. I don't need for him to choose me. Would it be nice? Yeah, it would have been nice. But it was not as desperate. Like, I realized I wasn't as desperate, I think, as her to be with him. And so that conversation didn't really bother me. And then, like I said, hold on. A few days later, it's like that's when all hell broke loose. I don't even remember exactly what had taken place, but me and him ended up getting into some argument, and I'm all sorts of names, and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, then I start snapping because there's Jesus in the rest of us, right? I'm about to go all the way off. Like, yep. And I had cooked him dinner, and I just wanted my container back. Like, first off, it was a Pyrex. This is going to seem very juvenile, but it is what it is. Pyrex container. Pyrex is expensive. I don't got time or money to be going out and buying new dishes. So now I have learned that you get plastic. You get the Dollar Tree containers at this point instead of my Pyrex, because that's not happening. Lesson learned, ladies, just so you know. And we just we're going off. And it's almost like all of the pain that I had previously and all of the frustration from this, because here we are in a much sooner time frame, kind of back in the same place. Again, I wasn't in a place where I felt like, oh, I want him to choose me. I want him to be with me like that girl was. It would have been nice, but I kind of already knew what to expect from him. And part of me thinks that was God, like just protecting me, protecting my heart, helping me to see and understand before I got too deep that this one was not the one. He was not going to change. It was going to be the same thing over and over again. And I have a certain amount of rage. Like, you play with me, I just am not about that life. I'm not. I don't like it. I don't like when people get played with. Don't play with my emotions. Don't play with my kindness. Even Jesus had a gangster side. Peter had a gangster side. Like, please don't play with me. And that's where I was. Don't play with me. So I had to have a friend, again, very juvenile. She was nice enough to come kick it with me so that I didn't do anything stupid. Because Lord knows I was about to. And I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad I'm not that same person. Am I still healing? Absolutely. But it was frustrating that that's where we were 10 years later. In the same spot, doing the same stupid stuff, all the things. So it took me like a few days to calm down. Also, during this, like after this conversation, or during this conversation, he like blocked me. And I deleted his number out of my phone. But again, I wanted my Pyrex. So I sent her a text message. I was like, hey, can I get his number from you? Because I deleted it. I just want to get my Tupperware back. Like, that's the only thing I want. I don't even care about anything else at this point. Her response to me was, oh, I don't have his number. Female, please. That's that stuff. That's the stuff that will keep me gangsta. Don't play me for stupid. Please do not. The Lord is still working on me. Like, so then me and her, of course, are no longer talking because I don't do well with liars. I'm not about that life. I don't, nope, we're good on that. And of course, like me and him are done. So I, fast forward, I end up getting on the Optavia program. I'm posting pictures on Instagram, posting pictures on my Facebook, and I'm losing weight. I'm looking good. I'm good with like everything that's going on. Let me reset my face, and maybe I should do my hair because this video is taking longer than, like I'm talking more than I had expected to, but I must need to share this. Don't know why, but I must need to. Okay, so we're gonna be using some Pattern Beauty stuff that I've really enjoyed. I'll have like a review, like an official review, you know, when it's time. So anyways, I don't know where I had left off at. I gotta think about it. Oh, figured it out. So yeah, I was losing a whole bunch of weight. I ended up losing 50 pounds on the program, which was great. But fell back into some old habits, gained the weight back. Long story short. Yeah, end up losing weight, posting pictures, and guess who starts commenting on my pictures? Yep, him. First it was a like, then it was a heart, then it was like a comment, and I had ignored them for the most part. Like I was just like, whatever, you know, like I'm not that concerned about it. And then at one point I was like, you know, I gotta deal with this because I was done. Like at this point we have nothing to talk about, really. There's nothing to say. You know what I mean? Like, we've tried this twice. There's no reason we need to be liking each other's pictures. There's no reason that we need to be having any sorts of conversations. Like, there's not. There's really not. So, and like, my friends had seen me essentially like go and grow through that situation, the previous situation. And I learned and I picked up because I feel like just because you learn something once doesn't mean you have it down. I have to be better about continuously implementing something. My habits need some assistance. And I found some healthy ways to grieve and I like moved on. And this I felt was like an attempt to try and get those things open, those wounds, that growth, you know, to like backstep me essentially. And so I ended up sending him a voice message on Instagram saying, you know what, like our relationship is too complicated for us to be sending each other text messages or liking each other's posts. I think that's what it was. And I called him out. Either put up or shut up. Either we are gonna try and do something and make something work, or we stop. Because I'm not going to keep, one, putting myself through this, but also it's not fair. It's not fair to me. It's not fair even to him. Look at that. Like, ooh, I love this stuff. It's not fair to play with people's emotions. Like, it's not fair. And he was not pleased. Because before, I was just timid. I don't want to say timid. But before, it was just, I would never say anything. Like, we would just go with it. And I just was like, no, I'm not. Either put up or shut up. If you like it, put a ring on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're done. We are, 35 and 43. And he didn't like that. And he sent me back a message about how he's been over me and blah, 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 and da, 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 da. But yet you're messaging, you're liking my pictures. Make it make sense. And then he blocked me, which was fine. I mean, I wasn't looking at him. I wasn't looking for him. Like, none of those things. And you can tell in Messenger, when someone blocks you and when they unblock you. And so, like, yeah, a few days later, he, like, unblocked me. And I was like, okay, like, whatever. Like, for me, that was the end. There was nothing for us to discuss at that point. There was nothing for us to discuss. There's nothing for us to discuss now. Like, there's nothing. You know what I mean? Do I still love him? I think I have love for him. I think a part of me still feels sad for him, to be honest. Because although I am human, I'm not perfect by any means. I know how great of a person he missed out on. And that's what saddens my heart. I want him to be happy. I genuinely want him to be happy with whatever that looks like for him and whoever that is with. I genuinely want him to be happy. But he's not able, it's not going to be with me. So yeah, that essentially was that story. But it wraps around to I'm struggling with not feeling like I'm behind because I'm 38 and single. And it doesn't necessarily mean something's wrong with me, because I think in the society, I feel like in the society, we are so quickly to be like, oh, you weren't married by 28, what's wrong with you? Yeah, we all have healing. We all have an overall health, wellness journey to embark on. Part of my journey is God, like Jesus, the Holy Spirit. Some people's other, journeys, they choose not to do that. Some people choose to numb pain. Whatever it is, like we're all messed up. It is really Jesus and the rest of us. There is no other way to put it. Look at them curls. And so for me, I think that this concept of feeling behind, which again is something that I am personally struggling with, is absolutely not something from God. Because God, if God is my timetable, if he is the author and finisher of my faith, then I don't really need to worry about any of that other stuff. You know what I mean? All right, honey. We're going to call it quits. This is a long video. If you have stuck around for all the gossip and the tea, you are an OG. Like, you are the one the Lord chose. You got the knife. Like, all of the things. If you know what reference that's from, leave it down below. I'm very old school when it comes to movies. But that's going to be it. I love you guys. May God continue to bless you. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.